boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and get our stream set up here. Thank you so much for being here with me live. Let me jump on camera in just a second, getting a couple of the last minute things. We're going to try dual streaming, this time instead of to Twitter, to Twitch, while we are also streaming to YouTube. Am I violating some terms of service? No, I don't think so. I've got some kind of an overlay somewhere. Surely they want us to multi-stream to every place at the same time. But appreciate you being here live. Appreciate you sharing the link. Appreciate you being, well, active in the crypto space. We need you. We need builders. We need the faithful. So, be with you in just a second. We are live. Welcome back to Mind Your Biz. My name is Seth. You're watching live once again. Hey, I'm going to go to the seating chair right now instead of being at the standing desk because it's been a long day. I'm going to kick my feet up. Appreciate you being here live. Appreciate you hitting that subscribe button, that thumbs up. Appreciate you always being supportive of my crypto journey and then joining me on this crypto journey where we learn about all kinds of things across the cryptoverse and blockchain ecosystem. I see Kevin Hawthorne in the chat, guys. Proof of live stream. I see the homie Serpent X Tech in the chat. Always good to see you in the chat live, brother. Crypto Mikkel, also part of the crypto mining fan, GPU mining fam. Appreciate seeing you guys here. The Deadwood MC. I see Stereo 2 and others also joining us live. If our current view count is to be believed, then I need to see some love in the like button. Smash that button. Make it explode. Now, if you do occasionally see some ads, YouTube is starting to prompt me to do that. That was never something that YouTube prompted me to do before, so I will be inserting those ads every now and then. If you're not using something like uBlock Origin or Brave Browser, well, then it's going to affect you. But just so you've been warned, that sort of thing is going to come up every now and then because YouTube seems to think that there are enough people tuning in to Mind Your Biz that it's worth doing. I'm flattered, YouTube. Thanks so much for your vote of confidence in me and in the channel. Guys, let's take a look directly, not at the Fear and Greed Index, but at the top news item for the day. Celsius bankruptcy, guys. A lot of pain, lots of blood in the streets. But one of the biggest reasons for that is because Celsius is the latest in a string of custodial crypto services to declare bankruptcy and to finally admit insolvency, likely owing to the complete meltdown of Three Arrows Capital and their inability to pay back their loans. They took down Voyager. They took down some of the withdrawals on Celsius, and we thought, okay, well, maybe it's just maybe they're just trying to restructure their portfolio and things are going to be okay. They started paying down some of their debts on chain with MakerDAO, with DAO Maker, and then obviously it didn't work out, right? So we saw some of those loans being paid off on chain, but it just was not enough. It was too little too late, and now Celsius is having to declare bankruptcy. Well, what did that look like in the actual court filings? Well, in essence, it means that for their Chapter 11 bankruptcy, it's filed in the state of New York, that they're going to have to restructure their company a little bit. That's what Chapter 11 means versus Chapter 7 or Chapter 15, where there may be some kind of liquidation of assets. They're going to have to restructure their business, and right now, unfortunately, there's about $1.2 billion that is missing on their finances. Ouch. That's a whole lot of zeros. It's a whole lot of money, right? A whole lot of our money. Those of us who have any funds on Celsius. Now, fortunately for me, I only had the tiniest little bit, and that was because of a some Marcom, I should say, that I was producing for a marketing team that I do some freelance for. And so I was required to put some funds on Celsius, but I only put on an amount that I was willing to lose. Sound familiar? Sounds almost like advice. On that note, if you're here to look for some kind of edgy advice, something to give you alpha so that you get a 10x or a 1000x here during a bear market, well, I got news for you. That's not what we do on this channel. On this channel, we talk about fundamentals. Yeah, we do talk about projects that may be a moonshot, that may be a long shot, but we pretty much just look at charts. We pretty much just look a little bit at the basics of how these markets move. So if you thought you were going to get legal, financial, business, or other advice, you came to the wrong place. I'm sorry to say that. But if you came for a good time to look at the mining chopsticks, to look at the our very simple indicators on the charts, and to look at the latest news, you're in the right place. Stick around, share this. All right, Nthef is in the chat saying, not your keys, not your coins. That's absolutely right, guys. Absolutely. Yeah, correct. We have to be hosting our own wallets, have to be holding our own keys, have to learn how to do security. You've seen on this channel where I've talked to you about how to generate your own seed phrases using air-gapped computers so that you know for sure you've got fresh wallet addresses, maybe for yourself, maybe for a loved one. Even Shamir's secret secret sharing, like various different multi-sig and multi-seed phrase, split seed phrase schemes to be able to help you to figure out how to be more secure. And we're going to go over more of that in the coming days and weeks. I've even got a hardware wallet review that is still on the shelf waiting to be published, as well as the latest foundation devices. That's right, the Passport 2 Bitcoin exclusive wallet that is en route. As soon as they finish making those, where we're going to give you an exclusive look, not just at how it operates, but we're going to tear the thing down all the way to its main logic board and figure out kind of like, okay, what's inside this thing? Let's do an audit. All that and more right here on Mind Your Biz. So thanks for coming to the right place for that. How to become a more secure cryptocurrency user. All right, guys, back with the Celsius news, though. The bottom line is there's $1.2 billion that's just gone. What do you do with that? What do you say to that? When $1.2 billion just disappears, up and leaves. That 0.2 is not trivial, by the way. That's $200 million on the top of that billion. So how do you deal with that? Well, unfortunately, what that means is that we're going to see, I think, probably a much bigger drawdown in the markets in the coming days and weeks. So this is going to be felt. The repercussions of this are going to be felt for some time. Now, unfortunately, this time around, in this particular market, we're going to see a lot more automation in the trading, a lot more automation in the trading volume, and in those shorts and in those buy orders, right? In those, what's the word I'm looking for? So instead of doing market buys, we're going to see a lot more limit orders, right? So a lot more limit ordering based on much lower targets. Heard on BitBoy's channel today, he's got targets set as low as 9,000. I don't know if I believe that's going to be the case. That would be funny, though, if Bitcoin did go below under 9,000 instead of over 9,000. It'd be the first time that those of us who are in cryptocurrency scene have ever been like, all right, under 9,000. This is what we want, because we want cheap Bitcoin. But we'll see. We'll see how that looks like over time. Fear and Greed Index right now is currently a score of 18. The market is reacting to this, but we haven't quite seen the extreme fear that should be coming out just yet. I mean, how do you make yourself any more afraid? When the worst has happened and you've seen that worst thing continue to happen, right? The expression of terrible markets over and over again, right? After Three Arrows Capital and now, can morale get worse? Well, I'm here to tell you, yes, it can. It can always get worse. Things can always get worse. So if you really felt like you needed to ask, yes, things can definitely get worse. But right now, extreme fear, I expect we're going to see even lower numbers in the Fear and Greed Index pretty soon because of what's going on. People should have been more afraid actually moving into this. I think that they were thinking they were going to see those steeper discounts for Bitcoin, so maybe there was less to be afraid of. Taking a look at TradingView, guys, and I apologize that I do not have my token metrics dashboard open right now. I'm still trying to suss out what I should cover on the channel and what I shouldn't cover on the channel, because as an affiliate of Token Metrics, I've got access to an advanced dashboard on Token Metrics. So I don't want to do them a disservice by showing off the full paid offering for free. That wouldn't be very sustainable for them. And for my part, I'm using it as a supplement to some of the basics that I show you here anyway. But you tell me, after you've tried out the free tier, the free membership, using the link down in the description, what kinds of tools from Token Metrics you want me to show off. And I'll start doing segments based on that, your feedback. Okay, so I need to hear that from you. All right, guys, taking a look at the chopsticks indicator, though, and we're kind of still on that channel. Did we break up out of it? Yeah, but then did the price action break back down into it? Well, yeah, it did. Our chopstick indicator has been doing very, very well. Now, it's kind of sad to see it because, nobody likes being in the doldrums. Nobody likes seeing downward price action, but unless of course, you're trying to get Bitcoin cheap. But here we are, right? And they're like, this is just the condition that we find ourselves in. It's just going to keep on dipping. In my opinion, we're going to continue to see this for some time. Maybe the trend will change a little bit, but it looks like we're moving in this trend continuously towards that $14,000 or $12,000 figure. I know Richard Hart desperately wants to see it hit 11,000 or hit 10.5 or whatever, but I'm not convinced. I think there's too much manipulation, and I think that because calls like that are so public, we're going to see it just stay a little bit higher than what he has predicted. So yeah, my money's on orders somewhere between 12.5 and 14,000. If I can get some Bitcoin at that price, I'll be a very happy man. Now, if I can get a little bit more Bitcoin at that price, I'll be a little happier, but there's no telling how long that kind of pricing will last. So the Deadwood comes in with some comments here, and we got Raven Boy Crypto joining us as well. Good to see the fam here. Says, there's probably some latecomers to the insolvency party. Give it a couple of weeks. Yeah, right? Where it is going to get worse before it gets better. I think that Raven Boy Crypto is totally right there. MC says under 9,000, I'll buy 2. That's a great plan, actually. That is good legal advice. That is good investing advice. And the Deadwood says, I feel 14. I don't know if you mean like intellectually, mentally, you feel like a 14-year-old, because I feel like a 14-year-old still. Like, my wife tells me all the time that I act like one, but if what you're saying is $14,000 Bitcoin, I'm feeling it too, brother. Also says, had to switch my network around. I could pass net through the PC to router, however, lost my hashing on that lead PC after a Windows update. Sounds like there's some technical issues going on over at the Deadwood homestead, so bummer. Hope you get back online. Dig Deep Miners in the chat saying, yo, what up, Mind Your Biz? Doing what we do. And Chusei Crypto's in the heezy. Also, everybody's saying hello. So, guys, 14K Bitcoin, I'm still putting that on the chart. And this is still our range, right? The bottom right there of what I call the green or go range, the DCA range. We've been in DCA territory, in my mind, for quite some time. Now, is that legal advice? No, but here's what I think that means. As per, this show, this segment, for months, I've been saying that these are the ranges that we operate in, and breaking out to the upside has been kind of a fluke. We haven't been able to sustain it. But somewhere between here, that red zone, not great DCR territory, not a great deal. In the long run, will you be fine? Probably, because Bitcoin has historically done about 200% on average, about 200% profit year over year. But lately, this last year, it hasn't looked so good, right? Obviously. So the question is, how long will it take to see that 200%? Well, we might have to see the next halving cycle and see that next leg up, right? To be able to witness it go well above that 200% sort of average earnings that we're used to seeing from Bitcoin over its relatively, young life of 12 years. Gosh, 14? Is Bitcoin 14 now? Good grief. Man, time flies when you're having cryptocurrency babies, cryptocurrency kids. But yeah, our little Bitcoin is, 14 years old from the white paper, date of the publication of the white paper almost, but only about 13 years old. A precocious little 13-year-old it is too. So anyway, just saying. I think we've got a lot more upside to expect from it in the future. So I'm not too worried about DCAing in somewhere in this green range. It doesn't worry me that much. The red range, not awesome, right? Like, why settle for an okay return when you can do better? And once we saw that there was the likelihood of being able to DCA in this yellow range and then down towards this green range, why would we accept poor gains, right? Hodling is what people do who just don't know any better. DCAing in at a lower range, so you're not trying to time the bottom, it makes sense, but it's not by definition hodling, so to speak. If you hodl through the worst dips and you don't have stop losses, then you're leaving gains on the table. And right now, with double-digit inflation at the pump and at the grocery store, we need those gains. And I'm talking to, us, normal people who kind of look like middle class, but at the end of all this economic nonsense might look an awful lot more like poor people, right? We need those gains. We desperately do. It may be a matter of life or death, or at least livelihood for our families. So I think we need to make that those gains come alive in these charts. Just be smarter about where we try to deploy our capital if we have any left over. Just saying. that's my rant on the charts today. We reset those. It's locked into TradingView. This is a public chart, and I'm an open book as far as this goes. Not too complicated. We don't need to overcomplicate it. The MACD isn't giving us any information that we don't already know. And currently, we're at the point right now where I think this little model breaks if this trend line continues to break out to the upside and doesn't get back into our little channel. That's where I think maybe we might have to adjust this in the near future. Raven Boy Crypto says, you got to patent them chopsticks. They are lethal. Heck yeah, right? They'll be banned in Hawaii and New Jersey soon. Watch out. Can't order them online because they'll shut you down, or they'll pull a Roger Ver on you, and they'll retroactively make it illegal. All right, guys. Yeah, loving the enthusiasm in the chat. Serpent X Tech is saying, what do you think is driving Polygon gangs over BTC? That's a really great question. Polygon right now, there's a lot of adoption, and guys, I haven't been quiet about that. And, I wasn't even very humble about it the last live stream. Polygon has been able to scale and then adopt and roll into ZK rollups faster than its competitors, including the mothership, Ethereum. Right. So I think that's kind of the main story there. Serpent X Tech. Buddy, I think we're just seeing that Polygon is adding to the roadmap and delivering on the roadmap faster than a lot of its competitors. Yes, Avalanche has subnets, and that's a really great development for them. But Avalanche has some dirty secrets too. Part of that is that they were caught up in the whole Luna UST LFG problem, right? So there was quite a bit of controversy there that we, for whatever reason, we give Avalanche a pass there. Well, Polygon was not caught up in that. I think that the price is highly undervalued for Polygon. That said, everybody else thought that too, till Disney chose them for inclusion into their accelerator, and we saw an 18% pop in one day. So maybe not the right time to buy like today. You could be buying the Pico, the local top right now. But I still think that Polygon is quite undervalued. And I think that when we saw it, get into that $2 range, it was still undervalued. I think based on just its market cap alone, it could contain a whole lot more value. And we'll take a look over at DeFi Llama in a minute, more about some of the fundamentals and the projects that are building on Polygon. I think that's the main story there, is answering the question, who's really building on this technology? And in the case of Polygon, bro, it's like literally everybody. It's Disney, it's Coca-Cola, it's major, luxury brands like Prada and Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana and all these others, like, these crazy lifestyle brands that you wouldn't expect. They're all on Polygon. So why did they skip Ethereum? Well, they wanted to do gasless minting. They wanted to have all the benefits of being able to bridge over to Polygon or over to Ethereum and have that time stamping every 10 minutes the way that Polygon does back to Ethereum. Most people don't realize that the way that Polygon sidechain, scales Ethereum as a sidechain is extremely respectful and shows a lot of equity in terms of stamping back into, like giving a full chain state stamp and timestamp back into Ethereum roughly every 10 minutes. So you can't use Polygon without also using Ethereum. Most people don't get that. So it is a proper sidechain scaling solution that was designed to scale Ethereum. After the Beacon Chain merge, I think it's going to continue to do the same. Justice Canfield is also in the chat and saying, I thought Matic was showing signs of congestion during the bull run. Yeah, it was. Here's the thing, guys. So smart contract network congestion is a reality of using smart contract networks. It is never going to go away. CryptoKitties had its day on Ethereum when it slowed the network to a crawl. So Matic had its what I call CryptoKitties moment, right? Where the Sunflower Farm game, they came in with a really poorly written smart contract and they brought the network to its knees. You could call it a stress test. We could call them gray hats if you want. They weren't black hats. They were real developers who were really trying to deploy a game on a network that has high performance. It just didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. So we saw that with Solana as well. The difference is Solana keeps restarting its validator network as a response. It just shuts down. You can't do that with a blockchain. Yeah, you can say like, oh, things are going to be really slow for a while, and that's ideal. But you cannot keep restarting your validator network and maintain public confidence in your blockchain. So let's see. Hey, we got Jimmy with the Stimmy saying partnership with Disney and Meta for Polygon. I know, it's huge. This is huge news, guys. And, love it or like it, you can't hate the partnership with Meta. I don't love Meta, the company, but the partnership is bullish for Polygon, right? So I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for everybody involved. And because they're permissionless networks, we can't stop groups like Meta or like Microsoft or like Twitter or others. We can't stop them from using blockchain technology. So if they want to, they're going to. We've got to figure out how to position ourselves so that we benefit from it and keep our data safe, right, from some of those data aggregating platforms. That's really our opportunity there. SuperNextTech says, I just want you to say all that on live stream. Lol. Thanks for dropping the knowledge as usual, brother. My pleasure, man. Guys, I miss live streaming with some of the homies here. We got to do some collabs really soon. But keep those questions coming in as well, guys. We're going to keep on going through some of this content here. Got the brains calculator. This is so important, guys. Right now, paying attention to what our cost basis is for power and figuring out whether or not we can stay profitable on GPUs and on ASICs, right? Right now, we're going to see a lot of miner capitulation. There have been plenty of large-scale mining operations. Compass Mining is just one that has had to, they've had to downsize their operations or have had to right-size their fleets. That means they are selling mining gear at a discounted rate over what it was being sold for, say, 6 months ago. Compass Mining was really pushing the mining at home narrative a few months back, and they were selling S19J Pros for $10,000. For me, that was not the right price. Now they're selling for closer to $5,000. Still probably not the right price. The point is, these ASIC miners are extremely easy for non-technical folks to set up at home. Literally just set it and forget it. Or if you can set it to some sort of a heat exchanger, put it into a mineral oil dunk, and then get like partially free water heating at your house, right? Use your heat exchanger and then put it into a loop on your water heater. There are a couple of projects on Twitter that are showing people how to do this at home without too much difficulty. So these are projects that I think are going to be really impactful, but the bottom line is we need the mining gear to be available and the right price first. And I think that's the case for Bitcoin miners in particular. So on the one hand, it's bittersweet. These are companies that employ people. There are real families and real livelihoods that are at risk here if they go under. So it's kind of sad to see them downsize. But for us, if we want to mine at home, huge opportunity for us to pick up equipment finally at the right price. So taking a look at that, we need to know what the price is that we're profitable. At about 50 terahashes, we're going to go all the way up to 104 instead. Going to leave that power consumption right about at the same, say 3,200. We can be on 12.5 cent or almost 12 cent power and still be fine. That's our break-even point right there. But the bottom line is still, we need the cheapest power possible. Let's go ahead and put that 8 cent per USD power rate right there, and it's going to show us that at that price we're looking at producing one full Bitcoin for about $13,500. Not bad. If we're looking at a full retracement all the way back into that roughly $14,000 territory, then producing Bitcoin at about $13,500, not too terrible long term. But that means we've got to get 8 cent power. Now, competition on the Bitcoin mining network, right? So the difficulty on the Bitcoin mining network and the net hash, we're seeing that kind of correct itself as well. This is definitely the time to mine those cheap Satoshis. So I think it's the right time to keep your head on a swivel. Look for those deals. They are coming. I'm convinced they're coming. So pay attention to it, guys. This is the time that those of us who are serious about this side of the industry, we get in, right? We stake our claim. The same is true for GPU mining as well, though. Let's take a look at what to mine. Really quickly see what the lineup is like right now. At 14 cent per kilowatt hour power, we're not doing so great. About $1 for a $2,000 GPU. Let's take a look again at that 8 cent per kilowatt hour figure. This is where we can actually possibly win. Now, it's not carving off a whole lot more profit, but it's enough that, as you can see, it's starting to make some sense. So even if we do see another 40% dip in mining profits across some of these projects, we might still be okay. Now, Neox, not super familiar with it, and I'm not convinced that it's going to be the best possible thing for us to look at. Let's take a look at just its individual page here on what to mine. Make sure that we're okay. So let's see what we got here. Volume is not super high. Right, there you go. Market cap is just over $300,000. This is a long shot. This is definitely spec mining. So buyer beware. If you point your rigs at this, could pay off handsomely, could go to zero. just be mindful of that. Ethereum, of course, is still our benchmark. Looks good, but we know it's not sustainable because the Ethereum core devs are pushing extra hard to try to kick miners off the network as soon as possible. So, yeah. SerpentXTech says, you see Neoxa, everyone caused hash rate to jump from 110 to 190 gigahash today over the past 24 hours. My issue is not so much the hash rate. It's more about the longevity of the project. So, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be able to spec mine gems, but we know the drill. You still have to get in as early as possible. You got to pay attention to your Bitcoin Talk announcement threads and to your Discord groups, and then try to figure out what's worth mining, and you got to launch day zero, right? So if you're serious about that life, guys, if you want to take that level of risk right now, because that's one way to make it through this bear market. If you want to be about that life, then you got to go do those things, right? Get your ear to the ground and really figure out what's coming up next that could have massive potential upside. What can I point my rigs at for about 2 to maybe 7 days? Get a bag of that and then step out of it, right? Don't get involved in the rat race here as soon as everybody else hears about it and it's listed on what to mine. That's when you're going to get yourself into trouble. Even with spec mining, like that's how you can sort of spread your hash rate a little more thin and then possibly strike gold. I mean, you never can tell. But if we're mining, speculatively with everybody else, I don't think we're gonna get as much as we could. But that's GPU mining right now, guys. Back over to what to mine. Neoxa, tells us a little more about that. Let's jump into more general DeFi markets before we jump into the news. Got Ozzy Bogan Tech saying, "Hello all." Wait, 07 all? What? I don't understand. Is this some kind of Bogan double speak? Are you trying to tell us to go get stuffed or something? What? I don't understand. Say something normal like, "Hey, I hate you guys, but I missed you. Good to see you." I don't know. This is code. This is Aussie code. I'm confused. Back to DeFi Llama. What do we got here? We got Ethereum taking its piece of the pie. We got BSC doing its thing. Tron, Avalanche, and then Solana, et cetera, et cetera. Stacked ranking looks like this. Top 5 are only 1, 2, 3 EVM networks. Tron is a derivative, but Solana is edging out Polygon. It's kind of making its way back up the stacked ranking. Polygon is kind of taking a beating as far as TVL. So TVL definitely is not, I think, the full story. Those partnerships, as was mentioned before, they do tell a much bigger story because TVL is going to grow. If you don't think that Disney and all of those other brands are eventually going to push higher value locked onto Polygon through their NFTs, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, Disney moves product as far as intellectual property. They move product like almost no other brand in the world. And they've tapped Polygon for inclusion into their accelerator program, and then ultimately to be able to work with them for on-ramps later on. I don't see how you can't see that. You have to, I don't know. It's obvious to me. But moving down the stacked ranking, let's look just at our EVM chains. This is where I think it's a little bit more clear that Polygon still has ground to gain against Avalanche and BSC even. See, Ravenboy Crypto's asking, what's up with the 4000 series release? Will it cause a 3000 series to drop even lower in price? I would hope so. But my concern is that NVIDIA has been very, very tricky this last product release to ensure that they maintained maximum value in those cards for as long as possible. We didn't see anything quite like this with the 2000 series RTX cards. But the 3000 series, you tell me, didn't they feel a little more manipulated? Because they did to me. That said, the 2000 series cards were released not under the same crypto market conditions. So that, the crypto market conditions, crypto profitability definitely has a strong say in whether or not these launch at a high premium. But I do think that there was a problem with the 2000 to 3000 series launch, and I think we're going to witness the same problem with a little bit more manipulation over supply and supply chain than we saw last time around. So it could be that they're going to magically find some way to inflate the pricing of the 3000 series cards. So what am I really saying? Just be cautious. Just be cautious. If you see good deals and it's something you desperately need, don't be afraid of going after a good deal now, but banking on it definitely being lower, I don't know, man. I would say maybe save any bulk purchases until we know for sure. But yeah, I'm going to wait and see. We saw weird manipulation with 2000 to 3000 series. I'm expecting the same this time. Plus, we were on the brink of an economic depression. People have been afraid of using that word, but we have to call it what it is. If Main Street and mainstream media is finally starting to acknowledge that we are seeing a recession right after 2 consecutive quarters of decrease in GDP and increase in CPI and inflation, after 2 consecutive quarters, they're finally admitting that it's a recession. In my mind, that means we're actually staring down the barrel of a depression. That's what's really happening. So it's hard to say what that's going to do to pricing with this 4000 series launch. Like, yeah, I wish I had a better answer than that. Right now, I am just kind of sounding the warning cry that we have to be sort of more generally prepared for austere conditions with markets and, with in some cases like payroll. Like, don't quit your day job right now, for sure. If that's a consideration for you, don't quit your day job. Certainly don't quit your day job to become a full-time miner. I don't. That goes without saying. But yeah, be really cautious right now because we're going to see some stuff. We're going to see some crazy, crazy stuff. I wish we didn't have to, but hey, better us than our kids, right? We'll be able to fix this mess for them, I hope. Anyway, moving back out to this view, guys, I see Polygon in that top 5. Chronos also coming up very fast. It's actually the only one that's been green over the last month in TVL. So, yeah, I don't want to ignore Chronos, but I do have concerns about being a massive sort of corporate state controlled chain. And the fact that it's run by crypto.com, yeah, they seem like they're okay, but as was mentioned before, we may discover, just like how Celsius said everything is okay, we may discover that they're okay until they finally admit that there's a division of their business that is not okay, right? They decreased their lending rewards or their cardholder rewards a while back, so maybe they got ahead of all this by decreasing their card member rewards early enough, but we won't know. They have a fiduciary responsibility to their board and to their stakeholders to pretend like everything's okay until the last minute when they have to tell us that things are not okay. So it's going to be hard to know which project or which company like crypto.com will fail next. Maybe it isn't crypto.com. Maybe it's a different one, but we can't tell right now. So yeah, it's going to be like whack-a-mole. Which one declares insolvency next, and can you get your coins off that exchange? I don't know, but probably better to just start moving things off immediately, in my opinion. Slowly, right? Don't make a run on these groups, but slowly get your coins off every exchange. All right, guys, that's the TVL. DeFi Llama isn't telling us the full story, but it's telling us some very important stuff. Take a look at Cosmos, the Cosmos ecosystem. Kava is killing it right now. Still taking up the lion's share. Osmosis in a close number 2 because it pretty much only speaks for itself in terms of TVL, but as a protocol, very valuable, right? It's synonymous with DEXs on Cosmos in the Cosmos IBC ecosystem. So nothing really moving there, nothing really changing there. And then Parachains over in the Polkadot ecosystem, it's still parallel in the number 1 spot and Akala in the number 2 spot. Astar has moved down quite a bit. It was in that top 2 before and taken down significantly over the last month with a 35% downswing. I don't know what the full story is there, but clearly it's taken a hit. Let me know in the comments section if you're aware of the Astar parachain drama or what the narrative has been that brought it down. Serpentx saying, don't be Kraken. Please. I know, right? If Kraken takes that big a hit, people are in some serious doo-doo. For sure. We need Kraken to stay solvent. That said, there are some projects and there are some platforms that are hiring because they're trying to show good faith that they are A, solvent, and that they're B, growing, and that they're building right now during the bear market. And, I'm here to see it. You love to see it. During the bear market is when we want people to start building. All right, guys, moving on from DeFi Llama. Oh, man, this keeps on happening. Let me get this guy out of the way there. And then drop it back into my main presentation. Every now and then I'll accidentally pull a tab off of the browser. The Goblin Dude is in the chat saying, "Heyo, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here with us live. And guys, appreciate you while we're live, hitting that thumbs up, sharing this live stream, and of course being subscribed if you're not. If YouTube is to be believed, I have a significant number of people who tune into these live streams and watch my media who don't subscribe. But you're better than that. I know you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right, in the first place. So hit that subscribe button. It helps me, and it lets YouTube know that this is valuable information for people to tune into. Plus, at some point in the future, I'm sure we'll start doing members-only content where we have maybe some of the shorts, or maybe the longer form content like this is members only, right, or subscribers only. So be subscribed, and then as soon as we do possibly open it up to memberships, consider it. Not today, right? There's no rush. And, I'm not trying to make a buck off of people who are here hanging with the fam. But in order to add value to the project or to the channel, we might have to go in that direction maybe in the future. Right now, though, let me know if members only or subscriber only content would work. Crypto Rip says, yo, yo, yo. Goblin Dude says, smash that like button. Appreciate it, guys. I'm seeing that like counter really move up. So if you guys are just rotating in, appreciate you doing that while you watch. That's huge. All right, guys, TX Street is showing us that the current advanced view of the ETH gas tracking, you need to take a look at this view first. Base fee is about 17 GWE, and then we also have a priority fee of roughly 2 on average, or a max fee up to 34. So really relatively sensible rates right now. Take a look at the visualizer to get a much more clear picture of what that looks like in terms of building blocks. Okay, not worried too much about that. Not worried too much about that. There it is. See, on average, about 20 GWE, 22. That should pop up before this bus leaves the station. But it looks like, yeah, our average fees are pretty manageable, and the low fee line is starting to pull transactions out of the queue. That's a big deal right now. Bitcoin also is doing all right. Not as congested as it was a little while ago. Get rid of that last block. TX fee is fine. And put in our median fee in sats per VByte. Also on the Ethereum side, get rid of the last fee, transfer fees fine, and put in our median contract fee and our median gas price. This is going to give us some more useful info along that marquee right there. That tells us now, there we go. Oh my gosh, under $1, 73 cents or so to send Ethereum right now. That's some of the best pricing I've seen in a long time, right? Love seeing that. But just to send Ethereum, 75 cents, and to execute a smart contract, something maybe even more advanced, we're looking at just under $4, about $3.50. Give or take, about $3.50. So appreciate that. Current median gas price, 29 GWE. So looking pretty sensible right now. If you're considering sweeping some of your wallets and using something like Tornado Cash to mix, legally, to mix your funds using that decentralized protocol to then put those funds in a fresh wallet, it's a great time to do it because the fees are so low. I would strongly encourage that you consider something like that. It is still, as of today, to the best of my knowledge, without giving you legal advice, to the best of my knowledge, last time I spoke to an attorney who was a specialist on the matter, they said it was legal to do so, as long as you keep track of your wallets, right, when it comes time to report your taxes. So I strongly encourage, if you're into that sort of thing, doing that while the fees are low. It makes more sense now. So at any rate, that's the current fee breakdown visually of the fees. And I noticed that we got plenty more viewers coming in. Wow, guys, thanks so much for sharing this video. Really appreciate that. And thanks for liking while you're here and subscribing. All right, guys, our portfolios look a little bit like this. GPU mineable coins, we've got Flux and Equilibria that are still in the money. Everything else is, well, hitting the rocks. Haven is down to 52 cents. It's very, very sad to see its total market cap below $8 million. It's had a good week, good 7 days, but a rough month and a rough year, frankly, since its last major hack. Conflux still cruising with $100 million total market cap. So if they have a treasury for developers, they're going to be just fine. Ergo as well at about $100 million. It's fallen off of the profitability charts for GPU mining though. So bummer. The Goblin Dude is asking, what's up with Tony Hawk now? Well, it's a great question. We got some news articles. We'll take a look at that in just a minute here. Let me get through the GPU mining portfolio and let's jump into some articles and jump back into our portfolios back and forth. Let's structure today's content like that, guys. So together we'll kind of jump back and forth. Conceal down bad, looking at that $1 million total market cap. I hate seeing that. That makes me very, very sad to see a project that is community driven and oriented like that just start to take such a beating. But there they are, nearing that $1 million mark. Ethereum Classic nearing the $2 billion mark or below the $2 billion market cap. It's very sad to see that as well. However, Ethereum Classic is not stepping up enough developer involvement to show itself as a valid competitor to Ethereum. if we saw more smart contracts from Ethereum being ported over to the ETC chain, right, Ethereum Classic chain, then maybe my thoughts and opinions on the matter would change. But yeah, it's just not happening. Gordon Murray says, I watched the Tony Hawk documentary the other day. It's pretty good, right? I watched it too, the one on HBO Max. Pretty killer. Or was it, did they have it on Amazon? I forget. But yeah, you're right. Tony Hawk seems like a pretty cool dude. Fun story. I saw him at a skate shop, not a skate shop, not a skate park, but a skate shop opening, grand opening in the 1990s. Not going to say exactly when, but if you watch that documentary, you can figure it out. It was between the Bones Brigade days and the Birdhouse days when he was still kind of hustling to try to make a living off of skating alone. But I actually had a t-shirt that he signed back at that time. Don't own it anymore, but you know, when I was a kid, it seemed like the right thing to do. Tony Hawk, yeah, definitely one of those childhood idols and heroes. Informed a lot of what I did in the later 90s or in the mid 90s in terms of getting involved in the sort of the aggro skate scene, right? The inline skate scene before it got picked up and then dropped by ESPN and some of the other groups. But long story, conversation for another time. All right, guys, moving back out of here. That's one of our portfolios. Let's take a look at some of the news here, though. Right now, BN Crypto has a headline about how KuCoin is increasing its staff by 30%. That's their plan right now. They're saying they want to increase their workforce by 30% over the next few months. What does that mean? Well, what it means is they've been hearing the criticism and the concerns and the FUD about other projects or other exchanges closing their doors, and they're battling it by, well, announcing that they're going to hire 30% more staff. Well, because there's been the rumor that KuCoin may be going insolvent as well. I can't say either way. I don't know any insiders at KuCoin. I don't have any contacts at KuCoin. If you do, maybe have somebody from KuCoin reach out. Maybe we can do a public interview. But they're claiming that they're going to be able to add more staff because if everybody else is shutting down and they're adding staff, then they must be solvent, right? Kind of stands to reason. If they have the money to hire new staff, then they probably have your funds. That said, we've definitely seen companies do things like this and then ultimately have that turn out to be a bluff. So it's hard to know for sure if that really works or how that really works. This is awesome. Crypto Rip says, I've skated with the Hawk in the 90s. He designed my hometown skateboard park in Nevada. So cool, man. Yeah. Tony Hawk, he's one of the good ones, right? He worked really hard to be a pioneer in a space where nobody else could do what he did. Crazy stuff, man. Yeah, good. Definitely good vibes there. Good feelings there. So let's take a look again, though. The other parts of the headline here, in brief, they're just saying, yeah, so many haters and so many critics are saying like, well, I don't know about KuCoin, but I would take my coins all the way off right now. Well, I'm going to say again, I would not advocate a run on every single exchange, but I would definitely strongly encourage you to pull your coins off over time, right? Don't leave your coins on exchange. Only leave as much on exchange as you want to trade with. And if you've been trading successfully, because that's your thing, then take your profits off immediately. Don't leave your profits on the exchange. Or if you only want to trade with your profits and you want to take your initial capital out, your initial investment out, then do that. But you figure out how you want to manage that and don't leave all of it on exchange, because if something does go wrong, you don't want to be stuck holding the bag. Too many people, including some close friends, have gotten wrecked by having some of their portfolio stuck on Voyager and Celsius, and now they're out of luck. They're not getting their coins back. A couple of people have been able to get involved in a class action lawsuit against one or the other group, but when they finally see their coins, it's anyone's guess. We don't know when that's going to happen. So, yeah, I would just say you got to stay safe, but you got to do that slowly. That's part of the process of staying safe. If you try to pull all your coins off, you might accidentally strangle the goose that's laying the golden egg. The last part of their headline there, they say the crypto winter has forced several crypto firms to lay off workers in a dogfight to ensure their survival. And we haven't seen the end of that trend. There's quite a bit more. Crypto Rip says, good to see folks my age in here and some fellow skaters. And Jimmy with the Stimmy says, I still skate daily. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I think nothing keeps you young like the threat of, I don't know, like breaking your wrist by falling off, high-speed bearings. Remember back in the day when you're like, I finally got some ABEX 7s. They barely even existed, right? And then Bones started to rebrand those Swiss bearings. Man, good times, good times. Kids today really don't know how good they've got it. Like, we had to fight for some of that stuff because it just wasn't around, right? We just took what we had and tried to make do. Anyway, moving on, guys, one more article before we jump back into our portfolios. Biden administration wants public opinion on the new digital assets executive order. The U.S. Treasury is seeking the public's opinion on crypto as part of its mandate under President Biden's digital asset executive order. According to a new report by the Federal Register, the Secretary of the Treasury must submit a report on the implications of the development of and adoption of crypto assets to the president. Now, to be clear, that's what the order was. It wasn't sweeping legislation. It wasn't something about like, hey, we're going to make these changes to crypto. It was more like, hey, it's an executive order on getting a committee to gather intel. And I think that's actually appropriate. The Goblin Dude says, I like longboarding nowadays. Bombing hills is fun. Heck yeah, man. That makes so much more sense. Got a buddy who opened up a stand-up paddleboard shop too. And I mean, not to get too hippy-dippy, but there's something about being on the water, man. So if you get a longboard, you can get the stand-up, like the street paddleboards or the street paddles. Basically just a giant, like, rubber nub on the end of a long oar. So you practice some of your rowing, and it's not the same, right? It's being more like a long oarsman as opposed to actually rowing on the water, because you'd actually touch the bottom, right? More like a gondola than like a paddle. But like, it's fun stuff, man. You can extend some of that fun that we had as kids, and you can have new adventures with it. So love to hear it, guys. Yeah, longboard is great. The motorized longboards, I don't know how I feel about that. Not gonna lie, the electric longboards, it seems cool as a gizmo, but I still like the idea of just like, kicking and pushing off the ground. Like, what's wrong with actually using your muscles, especially now, right? If people are dealing with unprecedented fuel shortages and which is going to eventually affect the price of electricity, like, what's wrong with just using like, a bike or a push scooter or a skateboard? Like, is that really so wrong? Are the kids going to die if we force them to, pedal a bike instead of using an electric bike? Come on, man. Like, this is how you grow a pair. This is how you strengthen, it's how you level up as a person, as a human, right? It's not even about being a boy turning into a man. It's being a human turning into an adult, right? Like growing a spine. Just saying, man, we don't have to motorize everything and put everything in bubble wrap. Jeez. Open-minded Bitcoin in the chat says, hello, crypto fam. Smash the likes. Appreciate that. And I endorse that. That is advice, and I give it too. All right, guys. Notice published July 8th, the Treasury Department asks the public what their attitudes are toward the adoption rates of crypto assets, the opportunities they could possess for investors and businesses, and the general risks they pose to the markets, traders, and those most vulnerable. The department asks commenters to identify drivers of the increased popularity of the nascent asset class and the conditions that can facilitate its mass adoption in the future. They also ask commenters to provide feedback on the opportunities digital assets offer to consumers, investors, and businesses. The Treasury Department also wants to know how the public feels about the risks digital assets pose to the financial markets, traders, and businesses, as well as what could be done to mitigate those risks. The regulatory agency is also interested to know if digital assets can increase underserved. There we go. I thought I said undeserved. I was like, what do you mean undeserved Americans? I didn't know that Americans deserved anything. Like, I got confused there for a minute. Sorry. Underserved Americans access to financial services. The public can submit their formal comments until August 8th. Awesome. All right, man. I can't wait to start submitting a bunch of trolls here. So, yeah, that's going to happen pretty darn soon. Federalregister.gov documents, we're going to open that up and expect to see a link to this in the description of this video after we stream today. Crypto Rips asks, how long do you believe this winter will last? The longer the better to accumulate, in my eyes. I think you're right. One of the issues that we're dealing with, though, is that we do have unprecedented inflation. And if the CPI is being listed at 9.1%. Well, the government lies to us. That's always what they do. They lie to us. So 9.1 is obviously a lie. We see the price of food going up by double digits, 20, 30, in some cases 70%. We see the price of gas, of fuel, going up hundreds of percentage points because it has more than doubled since all of this started happening. And so, gosh, 9.1% just doesn't add up. That doesn't reflect where we normally spend our money. Thankfully, rents haven't gone up. The interest rates on existing loans hasn't gone up, right? Unless they're variable rate, right? VERMs, right? It used to be adjustable rate back in the day. ARMs have always been a bad idea. But if the rates haven't adjusted on too many people's mortgages, then hopefully rents shouldn't go up too fast. But speaking from simplest terms, right? Simplest principles here. Like when we're seeing the price of food and fuel go up, that's what we spend, unfortunately, a lot of our money on. The middle of America, we spend a lot of our money on those things. We didn't used to as Americans, right? It didn't used to cost that much of our income, but it does now. And so that trend, continuing, it's hard to say that crypto winter will continue for only so long because we don't know how much longer those conditions are going to last. So accumulation, yeah, it makes sense unless inflation can get you to tap out and force you to sell some crypto. Right? And I think, unfortunately, that may be part of, if there is a master plan somewhere, that may be part of that master plan. Or if there is, a little bit of, we'll just call it a little bit of steering towards a new way of doing things, a new world way of doing things. I can't say the full phrase there, right? On YouTube, it's how you get shut down, canceled. But if there's kind of some steering by an unseen hand in that direction, then I think that the intent is to get you to capitulate and to sell as cheap as possible over towards centralized entities. And we're seeing that with guys like Michael Saylor. I have nothing against the guy personally. I don't know him personally, but it's very obvious that he's out to centralize the ownership of Bitcoin and the ownership of other crypto assets. And then characters like him, they're out to centralize the ownership of these assets by buying as cheaply as possible and forcing it out of your hands. They're going to ensure that they get rich during an economic downturn. We have to figure out how to hold on to these assets and outlast their buying power. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to do. So it's a great question, or it's a great point. But yeah, I wish the best for everybody in the stream, everybody here, the Mind Your Biz fam. I hope you guys, and hope that I am able to weather this storm and acquire and accumulate as low as possible and not get shaken out by inflation robbing me blind in my fiat earnings, because that's a problem there, right? And we can't predict that. Right? Inflation is a hidden tax, and it's totally unconstitutional. And it's a hidden tax that is totally onerous. It's a hidden tax that is, it's terrible. It's terrifying. So yeah, I hope we can make it, but I don't know. Inflation gets a say in that conversation too, unfortunately. But Ozzy Bogentech says rent in Oz is going big time, going up big time. And then let's see, IATG 2001 says our rent has gone up 20% here in North Florida. Rough, man. Yeah. It just does not reflect the CPI. 9.1% is a joke. It's a bald-faced lie, right? And they've been lying to us about the state of the markets for quite a while. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think we can expect more of the same. When they say it's single-digit inflation, what it really means is double-digit inflation based on how we feel it, based on where we spend. And unfortunately, in some markets, we're going to see triple-digit inflation. And they are not ever going to own up to that, and they're never going to apologize for that, never going to say they're sorry. They're not really going to even fix it, right? So we have to figure out our own means, our own methods. But I'm going to go ahead and forward this link to you in the description of this video after we're done live streaming. Back to our portfolios, though. Let's take a quick look. This is one of those ways. Justice Canfield says, Mind Your Biz, you remind me of the crypto version of the Heresy Finance YouTube channel. Both incredibly sharp men here. Hey, I appreciate you saying that, Justice. I want to take a look at that as well to see if there's some synergy there, see if maybe I can learn something, right? Like, I'm trying to become a more savvy macro investor, more savvy macro analyst, and at least pay attention to some of these other trends. And so, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that for sure. All right, guys, GPU mining portfolio is gone. Let's take a look at our hard drive mining portfolio for a laugh. Everything's in the red. Chia is not $15 yet, so I'm not obligated to buy any. Hopefully the poor investor doesn't show up and remind me that I promised to buy some when it's cheap. But yeah, I probably have to. Let's see. Party Farm is dropping some info about CPI. It says when they calculate the CPI, it's weighted with people's spending like gas and housing, like gas and housing has a higher weight than food might. I don't know. I'm asking. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't totally know how they calculate CPI. My point is that if it's a consumer pricing index, you probably should weight it more heavily towards what consumers actually buy, and consumers do buy a heck of a lot of oil derivatives, right? Of fuel, right, at the pump, and a heck of a lot of groceries. These are typically, you're looking at $1,000 in an average household every month. And not that that's this huge amount of money, but relative to the earning power of the average American, it is a lot. It's a high percentage of somebody's earnings. So yeah, there you have it, man. You would think the CPI would reflect that like 20 to 30% of what people spend their money on a little more accurately, instead of, whatever, consumer tech, right? Like TVs and smartphones and stuff. That is disproportionate to what is actually happening. Gordon Murray says they use Amazon Prime Day to calculate CPI. Oh man, they might. Who knows? Yeah, the world is crazy right now. I mean, because Amazon would have richer data on what should go into CPI than the federal government would any day, right? So maybe they actually, truth is stranger than fiction. Like, I'm sure you're making a joke, but it wouldn't shock me to find out that there are feeds coming from Amazon, like AWS, that informs CPI now in a way that it never did before. But there you have it. Yeah, and Amazon is trying to do their own stimulus to the economy by having an additional supplemental Prime Day. I'm not buying it. Literally, I'm not buying it. Why would I go when there's uncertainty about future inflation? Why would I go waste money on a bunch of crap to put out local businesses, right, that are run by people who I can go and see, whose kids go to school with my kids? No thanks. Pass. I'm gonna avoid that. Let's see. Justice Canfield said, posted the link to his channel. I don't know that I can see that in my chat. I'm going to have to adjust my view to see. Oh, it may have been automatically hidden by YouTube because I don't allow links. Sorry about that. But it's one of the things I have to do to cut down on spam. I'll take a look at that later on, though. Appreciate the feedback. All right, guys. Hard drive mining, taking a massive dump. Chia, not dumping hard enough for me to acquire some yet, though. Maybe soon. We'll see. I did make a promise to our friend, the poor investor, so got to make good on that. CPU mining, we've still got a couple that are in the money. Raptorium and Epic Cash. Since we last streamed, I mentioned that it might be worth taking profits on one or both of these. Since that time, Epic Cash has gone up. It wouldn't have hurt to take a little bit of profit. And with Raptorium, it has gone down. It also wouldn't have hurt to take a little bit of profit, as long as you're careful. Right? Just stay safe there, guys. Definitely stay safe. Biggest loser is WowNarrow, guys. Right, I gotta tell you guys, right now, WowNarrow it's still one of my favorite meme coins, and they know it. One of the WowNarrow community members made a music video that has my interview with John Murphy, with one of the maintainers of the WowNarrow project from a few years ago. Just funny to see. But I mean, it's got a market cap of $2.5 million. It is a micro cap. It's still this tiny, tiny gem. It's, you can't compare it to Dogecoin in that respect, but it is fun to use it as a baseline or benchmark to see whether or not Dogecoin is performing the way it should. So at 4 cents, interesting to see. Very interesting to see. But I've got a music video that has me talking to the WowNarrow founder. Jump into ASIC mineable coins really fast, though, and see what's happening with that Dogecoin price. Yep, 6.5 cents, roughly, or 6.2 cents. Let's see. Gandalf Gray has a great question. I'll get back to that in just a second here. But just want you to know, guys, proof of live. We are definitely live. Do bring those questions in. Really appreciate that you're here with me now and spending this time. It's a lot harder for me to carve out this live stream time, but I want to make sure that we do it. I am live on Twitch as well right now, so I should probably check in to see if I have comments. That would help a lot. I don't have a whole lot of viewers over on Twitch because I'm not really known for streaming to Twitch, so that's just interesting. But I do have a Twitch channel, and it does have some subscriptions. Just just FYI, one of those things. If you didn't already know, then, now you know. I'm on Twitch as well. But yeah, just trying it out. It's not what we typically do. But back into our portfolio, guys. ASIC mining, everything's taking a beating. Bitcoin's down by almost 50% since we made the portfolio. Biggest loser is Bitcoin by far. Still has a market cap of $25 million, though. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable that there's that market cap still. Ren BTC, SBTC, TBTC, they're just Bitcoin representations. Unfortunately, they are not supported by services like Tornado Cash. I wish that they were. It is the WBTC ticker symbol, which is a lot more centralized, that is supported by Tornado Cash, so it can be made private in that way. And then you can trade it on DEXs for one of the less centralized versions if you want. So you'd have to look for that liquidity. Let's see. Justice says ASIC coins. I better see Cadena in that portfolio. I wasn't aware that there was a Cadena ASIC made. I knew that there were some FPGA miners that mine Cadena, and it is in our FPGA mining portfolio. Don't worry about that. All right, guys. Looking at the rest of the lineup here, there's not much good news over the last 7 days. I guess we've got a couple of projects that have kind of popped off a little bit. Pirate Coin has seen some relief this last 7 days. Yeah, that's good news there, but everything else is pretty much continuously dipping. Nervos Network also had a big pop up a couple of days ago this week, so overall 7% up with a huge spike midweek, which may have gotten a few people some relief to unload some bags. But its current market cap tells me that we're going to continue to see development there. Not worried about them, but it's an interesting spike. Again, without seeing roadmaps developed, not sure what to attribute that to because it's fully decorrelated from Bitcoin. Same with Decred, but possibly for different reasons. Could be that we have some market makers here playing shenanigans between a couple of coins here. But yeah, that's just as likely as not. Let's take a look at some more of our news, though, guys. That's the Federal Register coverage of the executive order I mentioned before, but the block has some bad news about OpenSea, where we had KuCoin threatening to hire 30% more staff. We got OpenSea threatening to lay off 20% of its staff. And it's not that it's threatening, it's actually doing it. So the two quick points on this article are that they announced the layoffs on Thursday, today, and then the CEO said 20% of our team has been let go. So they've already been notified before they went public. Hopefully they can keep it at that. Guys, I think the cardinal rule for business is that if you've got to do layoffs, you just cut once and you cut as deeply as you need to, possibly a little bit more to ensure that you don't have to cut again. Hopefully OpenSea does not come back and tell us that they have to cut even more staff, because that would be extremely bearish for the ecosystem. Crypto Mikkel drops some knowledge here for Nervos. CKB had an update on the Godwoken testnet, or the Godwoken EVM, the EVM network, which is a pretty big deal. I showed how to add that to MetaMask on my review of the Nervos network a few months ago. You can find that on the Mind Your Biz channel. And it sounds like Crypto Mikkel was staying very up to date on that, so do check him out. He's on the DCA Adventure channel, but also has his own channel. Guys, hey, have I told you lately that YouTube is telling me to do ads? Because if you don't have ad block on, you just got hit by one. You should come back in just a second and catch up to us in just a minute there. But I'm a little bit surprised by that, guys. I am. I'm a little bit surprised that YouTube is prompting me to do this now, and I'm flattered. Frankly, I really am. It's cool to have them actually say that. Wasn't the case before. But yeah, appreciate you getting me up to speed on Nervos there. But OpenSea doing layoffs, it's probably about time. They've had a bit of controversy. They probably needed to right-size things at their operation or their company, because they were top-heavy and they were scandal-heavy. So hopefully that helps fix some of their problems. Another article before we move on in our portfolios is from cryptonews.com. 7 DeFi risks you should be aware of, according to CoinShares. What does that even mean? So 7 DeFi risks you should be aware of. Well, you should always be aware of OPSEC risks within your usage of DeFi. So yeah, just be aware of that. Gandalf Gray says, hit that like. Appreciate that, guys. Party Farm and Barry Merritt are excited about the browsers that they use, which block ads. But just as a reminder, guys, you can use other browsers, any Chromium-based browser, and just use uBlock Origin. Same with Firefox. Just use uBlock Origin. It's fully open source. And, well, you know, it's the open source that Brave has forked and use in their browser. Yeah, they do add some value to the browsing experience, and it's good. But just to say, if I were somebody that had to worry about privacy on a day-to-day basis because of my risk profile being life or death, I would not be using Brave. That should speak to the level of security that's built into their privacy model. So just throwing it out there, like it's good for what it's good for. Do not get complacent with Brave. See. Gordon Murray says, wish there was ad block for my TV. I know, right? Wouldn't that be great? Oh, well, alas, one of these, didn't we used to just hook up a laptop to the TV? Isn't that how we used to get YouTube on the TV? What does this world come to? Anyway, moving back over into the article, 7 DeFi risks. What are these? Volatility. Volatility? Did you know that crypto was volatile? I bet you didn't. Plebs. Crypto is volatile. Let's see. I didn't fully catch Gandalf Gray's most recent question, but go ahead and ask that again. Yeah. So yeah, again, crypto is volatile. Just a reminder. But yeah, volatility. That's why we are here, though. Smart contract bugs. This is something that is definitely a lot more important than people realize. Smart contract bugs, as brought up before, any network can have its CryptoKitties moment, and any network can have, well, a manufactured CryptoKitties moment by professional saboteurs, right? You can have developers who have some kind of a problem, a bone to pick with the core developers of a given network. I'm sure that's part of the story on Solana. I'm sure that was part of the story on some other networks recently that have had systemic problems, right? So there is a bit of an issue there by way of people just showing up and saying, you know what, I hate crypto and I can learn enough about Solidity that I can make this abusive smart contract and no one can stop me from creating it. Now all I have to do is get people to use it and have it call and write back to this network so many times in part of a play to earn game that I destroy it. In fact, we could probably, if we tried hard enough, Mind Your Biz fan, we could probably come up with some kind of an idea to create a website that gives you, I don't know, some incentive for clicking one button, and every time you click the button, it commits some sort of a write operation to a blockchain. What would we do to that blockchain if only 5 of us played it for like 5 minutes? We would slow it to a crawl. We just would. We could do that with manual inputs, couldn't we? But that's the example of some of the problems with smart contract bugs. Sometimes it's just a question of, ineptitude, but other times it's malice. People trying to do something mean. Yeah, Gandalf Gray is asking about the whiteboard tutorial channel. Yes, we can look forward to more content there. Have a couple of videos that are in the pipeline right now, as well as Simple Crypto 101, where we are ramping up content as well. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. It's been a slightly slower development process over on the whiteboard channel, only because of what I've been doing in crypto marketing as well. It has felt really good to have opportunities open up within the crypto ecosystem, and part of that has taken me away from the limelight and away from producing content as much, but that's really important to me, and especially the Whiteboard Crypto channel. So thank you for asking. We will be ramping up more content there. I think I can probably reliably do a cadence of about 1 video there per month. So I think that's kind of what I need to figure out, is how to carve that down and plan the next couple of months so that it's not too overwhelming and we can release that on a more regular schedule. So something along the lines of how crypto or Whiteboard Crypto or Finematics has a publishing schedule of maximum once every 2 weeks. That's more in line with what I think we can definitely do. So thanks for asking. And yes, we are on track to do that. Got that stuff there. Let's see. Got a couple of other comments going. Paul D says, I'm here. It's safe to restart the stream. Just ask questions, right? Ask about the beginning of the stream and we'll do it just for you. All right. But Ponzinomics potential definitely is a real issue there. It doesn't matter. You can be watching a channel like this and hear me say like, that's interesting. I'm learning about this thing. And all of a sudden we all discover together like, oops, it actually has like some serious problems in the tokenomics structure and we weren't initially aware of it. it can be a lot harder to figure that out initially. So yeah, that's a real risk. Mercenaries, the fourth risk. The liquidity providers leaving projects after taking advantage of the short-term incentive programs used to attract liquidity. This is a huge problem with market makers in particular. You figure if somebody's got $1 million worth of stable coins and they know that they can turn that $1 million into 1.2 million in a couple of weeks, I mean, that's a great pay period. Do you get paid $200,000 every 2 weeks? I don't. It would be really tempting to do that, wouldn't it? If you knew you could do that in an ecosystem that's unregulated, right? Where you're not going to get a phone call from the SEC, you're not going to get a knock on your door from the FBI or the IRS. You can just do that and repeatedly earn that amount of money at that interval. I mean, sounds too good to be true, right? But if it's possible, and if you can repeat it, you would probably do it over and over again, wouldn't you? Well, that's the problem of market makers. And like they're saying, these mercenaries in DeFi. Losing the peg. We saw it with Terra USD. Don't need to rehash that. It's going to be an issue, of course. Then the governance danger. DeFi risk comes from governance. Decentralized settings make governance that much more tricky. And we saw with the Solend platform, as you saw over on the Simple Crypto 101 channel, that Solend made it very obvious that there are some issues with certain platforms on certain networks that, especially if it's just a platform. It's not even a network problem, but platforms saying, like, we've got an issue with our governance here. We got a community moderation policy that maybe breaks down because of abuse. Well, how do they deal with that? You can have a problem with overly protective governance and having there be a group that controls a DAO. And so before you know it, you're on the wrong side of a deal where they freeze your wallet, right? Or where they claw back some rewards from staking. And it's hard to know when that's going to happen. So DeFi has that problem within governance of it being maybe less decentralized than you thought, or in some cases, decentralized to a fault such that automation and scripting and bots, just somebody else's programming, can leave you wrecked because there wasn't enough governance to be able to protect you. And there's an unforeseen threat vector there. So yeah, it's tricky. These are really tricky, complicated systems. And then the eternally looming regulations. Yeah, right? How often do we talk about this regulation or that regulation, this proposed measure in the EU, or another proposed measure in just this one state of the United States, of the USA, or another measure that's in Canada, but maybe doesn't affect us at all directly, but then shuts down an exchange that we might want to be able to use someday. It's complicated stuff there too, just from a regulatory standpoint. Nicholas Borba is here saying, very happy to be here today with y'all, my friends. Hey, thank you. I really appreciate you being here too. Barry Merritt saying, helium is wrecked. I haven't checked into it since I saw it had that shutdown. I'm not invested in helium, but if anybody here is, I feel for you. I feel bad for you, son. 99 problems. Dead HNT tokens ain't one. All right. Bear markets lead to massive TVL drop. Yep, that can totally happen. It can totally happen. We're watching it happen in slow motion over on various smart contract networks. And let's see, what else do they have here? That was pretty much it. That was kind of the last one. Daily active users, TVL, it can all kind of dip during bear markets. Now, what they fail to say here is that just leads into that first point of volatility, and that brings us back to our opportunity. Without volatility, there is no opportunity. Without risk, there is no reward, right? We'll take the good with the bad, right? Or the bad with the good, however you see it. You can't separate them too early on. You just have to know what you're looking for to be able to pick all the good stuff out of there. Nicholas Borba says, LFG, thank you for the amazing vibes, my friend Seth. Hey, man, you are welcome. You're welcome, guys. Here's the thing. The world's full of enough negativity. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum here. So, guys, when y'all are here, your family, we're going to talk about this stuff, real talk, just as straight as I can. So do bring in those questions as you can as well. Barry Merritt says, CeFi is wrecked now. Yeah, I think you're right. Centralized finance within crypto, the secret's out. The secret's out. It's always been a house of cards there. They were offering returns that were just way too high to be sustainable. At least in DeFi, you could see on chain whether or not the rewards were sustainable or when they ran out, right? Like that article explains about market makers coming in and being mercenary about liquidity mining rewards. At least you know when the fountain's going to run dry, right? When the faucet's going to run out. So that's all on chain. CeFi, Nope. Nope. Flying blind. They just promise you some kind of returns. All you have to do is give up your keys. No thanks. Never again for people that got caught up in it, right? Great article there, though. Let's take a look at our portfolio again. We saw our ASIC mining portfolio looking pretty good. FPGA mining portfolio is, of course, Cadena all day. It is top of that list because it's been performing that well. This is a long-term hodl, though, and the one that's doing the least well is Digibyte. Really sad to see because it's got such a strong community, but they would need to deliver on new functionality, I think, in order to gain more new users. It's still not doing too bad, though, at about 145 million total market cap right now. I don't know if it has fully been emitted or if there's still additional coins to be emitted in the future. I don't know what their tokenomics look like in terms of the coin emission schedule, but Digibyte is not dead yet, right? It's the price is depressed, but it's not dead. Paul D says it turns out CeFi was just outsourcing being a DeFi degen to somebody else, pretending to be a bank. Yeah, okay, yeah. Somebody's been doing their reading, right? The 0xB1 account was the degen to Celsius's straight-laced CeFi gains. It's hilarious, man. This stuff I wish we could turn more of the stuff into movies, but you couldn't produce the stuff fast enough for it to get out into pop culture. And then it's too heady for a lot of people to wrap their minds around. They just wouldn't get it. Too cerebral. But FPGA mining, guys, we see a couple of good options there. The high volatility and high frequency swing trades not available anywhere on this side of the charts, though. So kind of a bummer. Proof of stake smart contracts, guys, we got to cover them because they are, well, unfortunately, they're pretty much everything right now. That's where the majority of our stuff is, the majority of the gains are these days. Solana's at the top of the stack. It's right back up there where it was before, and that with only a $37 price. Unreal to see it. CryptoSticks is asking, what search engine browser do you recommend? Any upcoming Web3 projects you're looking at? Good questions. Very good questions. Barry Merritt is also saying Celsius was breaking many securities and banking laws. Yeah, I mean, hopefully they're able to pay back people who got their coins snatched up here and the withdrawal closures before they have to go paying fines. Because, sure, slap them on the wrist, but I want to see investors and retail get their money back, right? Like, this is where I'm conflicted. They probably need to be fined to the level that they don't do this again, but people need their money back. That's that's the first order of business. They've got to repair the harm, So, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Hopefully both things happen. People see justice, and these guys, for making their bad choices, hopefully they see justice as well. But we'll see. It's going to be a long road now. Proof of stake smart contracts, yep, top 5 are Avalanche, Tron, Phantom, and BNB on top of or just behind Solana. Barry Merritt is saying 12K lost. Oof. Are you saying 12K? You think that we're actually going to see 12K as the next target for Bitcoin? I need more detail there, brother. Tell me. What do you mean? That's intriguing, though. All right, 12K lost is, that's just a tease. We need to know more there. Bottom of the list here. We got Terra Luna Classic, surprise, surprise, ICP. There's definitely some people out there trying to shill Internet Computer Protocol, and I do not understand it. I could not build on a shaky foundation. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Neo also the number 3 from the bottom, but still at over $600 million market cap. So they've got some roadmap. They have to. Abracadabra says Cardano was in top 5. Crazy, man. Oh, Barry Merritt says he lost 12K in Celsius. Man, I'm so sorry. What? I'm so sorry to hear that. That's a bummer. Hopefully there is some kind of a class action suit that you'll be able to get involved in sooner than later that maybe makes you whole on that 12K sooner than, them trying to structure their other, what's the word I'm looking for? Bankruptcy proceedings, right? Like, hopefully you can get a structured settlement from a class action lawsuit faster than that, because we're looking at years, man. And yeah, I'm sure that those $12,000 would come in handy now, not later. But Paul D says, what's less crazy, Internet Computer or Insane Clown Posse? You decide. All right, Abracadabra is also saying, don't try to pick up pennies in front of freight trains, man. Keep your eyes somewhere. I don't know, I guess. Yeah. It says, enjoy the info biz. Yep, appreciate it. Yeah. You guys, decide in the chat what's less crazy. But Yeah, all the middle here is where we're going to possibly see some alpha as well. Polygon moving back up, but yeah, crazy. Cardano. Yeah, Cardano, not top 5. It is weird, but this is based on when we created a portfolio, so this isn't based entirely on fundamentals. I know there's some people who are absolute, like, ravenous Cardano maxis. Same with Ripple and XRP, or Ripple Labs and XRP. So, I mean, I don't know. We just don't speak to that very much on this show. We talk about creating fairly conservative entry points and fairly conservative exit points and exit strategies if we can. It looks like Cardano, though, after, this most recent run-up, yeah, I don't know. It had that double top just like Bitcoin. The fact that it had a higher top the second time around, I don't know what to say to that other than that these were two really great opportunities on Cardano to take profits. And that's the takeaway that I get from it. Not that Cardano is going to beat everything else, but that it gave some really great price appreciation, and that we should be learning from this as investors. We should be learning how and when to take profits, even from projects that we think are really great, and just try not to drink the Kool-Aid too much. That's my take on it. Like, I've got nothing bad to say about Cardano here. Just to say the chart is telling us pretty clearly that in this most recent run-up and over the last year, we had a couple opportunities to make real money. I mean, 13 cents up to $3. A few of us had an opportunity that we didn't know was ahead of us, and we missed out. So, yeah, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer for a lot of us, right? We could have done better, maybe. But anyway, this portfolio, yeah, looking okay. Looking okay. Proof of stake smart contracts. I'm going to say, before, like I said before, about Polygon being something that's, I think, very undervalued, but it's likely that several of these projects are very undervalued right now. Paul D says, was the second top when they launched smart contracts or whatever? Yeah, I don't know. I will say that about Cardano. It was a little bit lackluster when the smart contracts did ultimately launch, because it was like, oh, 1 transaction per block. Ouch. 1 smart contract transaction per block. It failed to impress at that time. So anyway, we'll see if they can fix that. Well, and then now, of course, the EVM sidechain that they've launched. It's like, oh, wow. So you did what everybody else has done, including Bitcoin, and you basically copied Ethereum and tacked it on as a sidechain and bridge. Okay. All right. So what you're saying is Ethereum is a really good smart contract platform, and EVMs work really well. Like, that's my takeaway from that, too. Is not to put Cardano down, but just to say, like, even they basically admitted the EVM is pretty solid. Why don't we launch our own? So, let's see. The junk drawer, it's as per usual, guys. You can't take this stuff too seriously. It would have been really difficult to get in early enough to get these kind of gains, but they were impressive. Saitama Inu, killer gains, but could you have possibly realized profits from it? Maybe not. You might not have been able to sell it into enough liquidity to make that matter. Everrise, kind of same. Tremendous gains with a total market cap of $38 million. So enough that if you had significant holdings, like, we have a fake position of almost half the coin supply, that you could have gotten away with some, but not all. You would have tanked the coin price. So, these are not realistic positions, and you shouldn't worry too much about whether or not you could have gotten in. At least not at this point, anyway. Floki Inu still showing tremendous profits. It's just unbelievable. With $1,000 in, still showing that much profit, and we saw a far higher profit earlier. But down at the bottom of this list, guys, we do have some coins that are not doing so hot. There are some that don't have an entry point, such as Maximus DAO, Hedron, or the old Volt Inu. They've upgraded their contract, and I've heard some bad things from some people. I don't want to belabor the point here, but it does bear me mentioning. You saw me do a review on Volt Inu, or a paid walkthrough on Volt Inu, where, again, it's not an endorsement. They asked me to take a closer look at the project. I wound up passing on getting any of those coins, and now I'm hearing from people that in order to upgrade into the new contract, I'm hearing some weird things from some people claiming that maybe the conversion process to the new token is raising some red flags. I'll take a closer look, but if that's the case, expect me to take that video down. If there is anything that's looking like a rug pull, I will take that video down, and I'll be removing any mention of Volt Inu at all on the channel. That's my commitment to you. But I've got to take a closer look to validate that's really true. Because it's also true that a lot of people like to FUD projects and pretend like things are not going okay, or claim that like, oh yeah, someone contacted me and they told me to give them my seed phrase. Well, that might not have been the official project itself. Could have just been a scammer somewhere posing as the project. So going to try to find out more about that before I mention them again. There's enough free attention for them. Fame MMA also no position placed here, no paper trade. And Quick Swap, the new Quick Swap, also no position here. It's interesting, though, just to note that the new Quick Swap is not trading at the same premium that the old Quick Swap is. Very interesting indeed. I don't know how it's maintaining that leadership, but there's still $34 million worth of it in the market. So figure that one out. I don't know. Moving slowly sometimes is the best choice there. Barry Merritt says, no Inu coins. Dog poop. Funny. And then Gordon Murray says, add Caspa to the list. Like, do you want me to add it here to the junk drawer? I can. Let's just see what we got. I mean, why not? The junk drawer, these are always long shots. These are always moon shots. And it's important to have some of these in here just because we can never tell what's going to pop off, guys. That's the only reason to do it. So, interesting. No market cap listed there either, though. All right. Let me check your questions. If you have any, do bring some questions into the chat. Love taking your questions. Love being able to do Q&A. So let me know what kind of questions you might have. Abracadabra saying liquidity may be on old coin. Yeah, I think for Quick, that's the case. There's still a lot of liquidity that people just have not taken out of their LP positions from before. And so it's just stayed there. They haven't maybe felt the need to update to the newer coin, or when they do finally remove their liquidity, they're just they're taking profits at that point without converting. Gallo's in the chat saying, evening, sir. May I just say, THPS, introduce me to skate park, semi-indie labels, and DIY. I'll forever be grateful to the Activision team. Nice. Yeah, man. No, Tony Hawk Pro Skater it's a legit game. And then Paul D says there wasn't anything to do with the new QS token, according to people on Reddit. Yeah, there was a lot of resistance. I could tell that for sure. But yeah, I wasn't sure how that played out because it's been a few weeks now. I thought maybe it had found its use case. Maybe it had found its market. Maybe people were starting to LP with it more, but apparently not. So guys, appreciate you being subscribed, hitting that thumbs up. Thank you so much for sharing this video while we're live. And if you're new here, appreciate that subscription. It means a lot. Very few of us are making content like this when there's a bear market. So it means a lot when you're supportive of those of us who are still publishing. Thanks for that. But let me take a look at our next article, guys, our next headline here. We got just a couple more that I did want to go over. And this just kind of validates what we've been talking about for the rest of the live stream. This is on Ethereum World News. They're saying Celsius Network's assets could be locked for a long time, like Mt. Gox's crypto, says a Bitfinex whale. And here's a summary. So a Bitfinex Bitcoin whale, Joey 007 or Joe 007, has warned that Celsius Network's assets could be locked for a long time, just like Mt. Gox's crypto has been locked since 2014. Celsius Network has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Well, this is not too shocking. A revelation, right? We've got about 8 years that we've waited for the Mt. Gox stash. Do you think it'll be 8 years before we see Celsius Network pay out? That would be the year 2030, right? Like, give or take. The year 2030 before people start to get their payouts from Celsius. Can you wait that long? I hope so. And if not, I hope you find some other way to apply pressure to them to get paid earlier, because that would be cool. Not have to wait around and get jerked around. But that's kind of sobering right there. Barry Merritt says, I'm hoping Compass comes through with my ASIC miners. That would be good. Yeah, I sincerely hope that, anybody who's trying to get a hold of mining equipment, that you get that done. So let's see. Gallo says, appreciate the stream. Always great content. Appreciate you saying that. And Abracadabra says, love the whole market coverage. Thanks, man. This was something that I knew would be kind of like longer form content. But my hope was that it would be valuable for people who wanted to tune in and get that full 360-degree view of mining and markets. I think there's way too many young people in this, by young, I mean new entrants into the cryptocurrency scene and blockchain investment scene who just don't know that there's any other way that blockchain has ever been run, or that there are strong fundamentals with proof of work over proof of stake. Now, I have to acknowledge that there are proof of stake networks that are taking out a large chunk of TVL within DeFi. But that doesn't change the basis of, say, Bitcoin's proof of work, or currently Ethereum's proof of work, or many other networks that leverage proof of work. Now, there are a lot of voices against that. We've got to be able to speak to both sides and understand that proof of stake does have its place. Even if you're supportive of projects like Ergo, right, that use proof of work for coin issuance on their network, but are reliant on the Cardano ecosystem. Cardano is proof of stake. So we've got that hybrid ecosystem. We have to look at both sides. Gordon Murray says, can I adopt some miners from Texas? Plenty of power where I'm at. That's awesome. Barry Merritt opines that Celsius is going to be much faster. I have a vote on the Chapter 11 outcome. Oh, yeah, fair point. See, Abracadabra is saying, you don't agree that mining is less profitable than just buying the tokens? It's always a question of dates. It's always a question of dates. Everybody who's engaged in GPU mining has seen some coins that absolutely made it worth buying the mining gear. And then we've seen some other coins that you would think would be very safe that, really didn't pay off as well as you'd hope. But a lot of us here have been mining Ethereum since it was less than $200, right? When it was $70. So to mine several ETH worth of Ethereum, probably worth it in the long run. But yeah, when it got to $4,000, definitely not worth it to mine Ethereum over buying it. I should say it wasn't worth buying it either and hodling it, because you're going to see it run down. So what would you rather do? Have your cost basis for that Ethereum be, a few kilowatt hours worth of power that you paid for every month, or have it be the cold hard cash? See the problem? This is a multivariate problem, which is why I think it's important to look at it from both sides. But anyway, that's just me. So yeah, might take a while to get those funds out of Celsius. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. But our junk drawer is looking very interesting. Moving from the junk drawer into the IBC gang, let's see what the portfolio says there. Cadena is still the one that's in the money. And Luna Classic, of course, is still eating crap. Sentinel is down really, really low. So if you believe in their mission, then maybe this is a time to look for a deal. I've got to say, I mentioned it on the last live stream. I've tried some of their applications, and they just didn't seem to work for me. I don't know what the problem was. I might have to try them again. But at the current total market cap, it could be that they'll be suffering problems in their development treasury. So we'll see. Hopefully Sentinel and their mission survives this bear market. Persistence is also doing pretty well. Even though their price is down, their total market cap is still strong enough that they're going to make it through. And they've written a lot of the SDKs that several other networks rely on, even beyond Cosmos Hub's SDKs. So they've assisted in critical infrastructure for the Cosmos ecosystem. But those might be some good buying opportunities. Maybe. Not telling you what to invest in, just saying they might be good fundamentals. Akash Network as well. They're building critical infrastructure for the decentralized web in the Cosmos ecosystem. Very similar to Flux, but for all of the projects that you see here, they're going to leverage those. Cadena and then Cosmos Hub, both doing really well. I think it's not too big a shock because Cosmos Hub does allow for staking, so you're going to have a lot of people who are saying, you know what, I want to earn some yield on my coins. Why don't I grab this Cosmos, or this Atom, and then stake that through all the lean times, and then on the other side, I'll have a much bigger bag. If it ever returns even just to its previous all-time high, I'll be in a better position. So hard to argue with that. Let's see. Abracadabra says, did you claim your free weight tokens if you sacrificed for any of many Pulse Chain projects? I'm not sure. I've got to look up the weight token. Wasn't familiar with it. Yeah, I'll take another look at that. Let's see. Paul D says, if you just break even mining, pay electric out of pocket, you can end up with crypto tax-free. That's true as well. A lot of benefits to mining. But that includes setting up infrastructure for proof of stake. So not just master nodes, but validator networks and validator nodes. All of your costs there, they can be a tax write-off, and they allow you to acquire the crypto, I think, tax-free as well, because you've created infrastructure and you haven't just staked coins. So something to be aware of, guys. We used to call proof of stake, we used to call it proof of stake mining, to differentiate between setting up the validator networks and the validator infrastructure against just, like DPoS, where other people just stake their coins to your validator, right? Like mining and being able to work with IT, it's still valuable enough that it's worth looking into on both sides of the ecosystem. I keep on seeing an uptick, guys, when I jump back to this view and I just do a talking head video. We actually wind up getting more people jumping in and paying attention to the conversation. So I've got to balance this, I guess, between actually talking about charts. Let's see what happens when we look at the Bitcoin chart again. Is that weird? Just noticing that? Like, I don't know. It feels fake. It doesn't feel real to me. Kind of strange, but appreciate you guys being here with me live. All right, that was Celsius News. Bill Murray apparently has an NFT project that's going to be premiered by Coinbase. Oh my gosh. Yep, that Bill Murray, and oh my gosh, yes, that Coinbase. So anecdotes, observations, advice, memories, Murrayisms are coming to the world of NFTs as Bill Murray prepares to launch an inaugural NFT series with Coinbase. So, yeah, National Lampoon Radio Hour of 1973. Dang. Saturday Night Live, Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day. You can look up his IMDb page. It's pretty crazy. So, let's see. Yep, the beta NFT marketplace. That's where it's going. Entertainment site The Chive and e-commerce platform Project Vankman to release a collection of unique one-of-one NFTs. It's crazy. Yeah, guys, it's the long form. Here we are, just past an hour and a half. And yeah, definitely it is YouTube saying like, all right, he's not giving up. We're going to give him some more views, more people. All righty. Crazy. Just wasn't expecting it. But yeah, Coinbase NFT, the NFT marketplace, I'm not sure if that's where I want to go buy crypto. Gordon Murray says, hey, that's my uncle. Appreciate that, guys. Yeah, Uncle Seth is here talking about crypto. Appreciate that's also the direction that I've been able to steer my brand as opposed to, anything else. Everything else gets weird, right? Try not to be the creepy uncle, just the corny dad jokes telling uncle. That's sustainable in my, I don't have enough energy to be the creepy uncle. Please don't ask me to be. But yeah. So interesting that the Chive is in on it and that Project Vankman. I'm not even sure what Project Vankman is as an e-commerce platform. It sounds like something born out of the Ghostbusters ecosystem, right? And meant to be some kind of like a branding play, but there you go. Bill and his son Jackson personally reviewed, edited, and approved every story NFT in the collection. They also worked closely with author John Resig to add context to the stories we all know and love, while also contributing dozens of stories few have ever heard. Well, that's cool, man. Bill Murray, he does seem like an interesting guy, and he's funny and personable and really lights up a room. So it's cool that he's doing this in the same way that it was really cool that, why can't I think? Captain Kirk. Bill Shatner, the other Bill. It was really cool that he released some NFTs on Wax. But I'm not sure that Coinbase's NFT marketplace is the right way to go, man. Like, let's do a live search on Coinbase NFT marketplace right now. And while I'm doing that, jump back into here, guys. Let me know what questions you have for me. If you're here as a noob, thanks for hitting that thumbs up. I got to keep asking. Is that crazy? I've got to keep asking. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe. Gosh darn it. Because you're new here and YouTube wants you to tell them that this is important media for other people. How do you tell them? By hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. That's the only way they know. They're crazy, right? They're crazy. They're trying to keep us all, suppressed here. You got to tell them this is important. Jesse M says, man, didn't get the notification about the stream, but I'm here now. Appreciate you saying that. All right. See, nft.coinbase.com. That's a pretty good guess, right? I could have just guessed it. Jeez. here we are. All right, and he's above the fold news. That shouldn't be a surprise either. But there it is, dropping July 15th, 1 p.m. View the drop. We got another day before it's supposed to happen. Historical figure, the Flower Girls. I think it's still true that they've got extremely low volume on this platform. Like, I could be mistaken, but I believe that it's extremely low volume on this collection. All right, 18 hours from the time of recording right now. 79 NFTs, minimum price 1.3 Ethereum, one owner right now. And why aren't you showing me who the owner is? Why don't you give me a link over to Etherscan? Huh? Come on. NFT.coinbase.com. I need to know. All right, share. I don't think I want to do that. Weird lateral scroll. Why aren't you sized correctly? Also kind of weird. Oh my gosh. Please. Please. Okay, new bio for Bill. Remind me how. Oh, what? I don't think I want to do that either. Okay, well, validated. It's really there. It's really happening. But, yeah. Interesting. Would you buy a Bill Murray NFT? If so, why? Tell me in the comments section. Appreciate you again every time I go back to a Talking Head video. Appreciate more people not bouncing. That's pretty cool. Appreciate that very, very much. Abracadabra is asking which blockchain. I suppose it's going to be on either Ethereum or it's going to be on Polygon. If I had to guess, it's not actually telling us, but I think it is on Ethereum or Polygon. And I think that Coinbase is primarily working with Ethereum first. Paul D says Coinbase laid off their web designer. Yeah, probably. Right? It's pretty crazy. Yeah, Abracadabra is going to pass on the Bill Murray NFTs. But why? Why? Bill Murray's such a nice guy. You don't want to give him a 1.35 ETH just for being a nice guy? I am surprised. I'm shocked. Okay, I'm not that shocked. All right. Moving on in the news cycle, guys. Sandbox is partnering with Tony Hawk. This is where we got that headline from, to build the largest skate park in the metaverse. So we have people here who have met Tony Hawk in real life, who've skated at skate parks that were designed by Tony Hawk in real life, who have gone and done skate tours at some of the same mobile skating events that ESPN and the X Games have done with Tony Hawk in real life. But we're supposed to go and hang out with him in Sandbox, in the metaverse. Interesting. Yep. Let's see. Crypto Mikkel says Coinbase NFT market volume was only 13K in the first 24 hours. Only 13K every 24 hours, and only Ethereum so far, mind you. Appreciate that feedback there, man. I thought it was just Ethereum, and that makes sense to me. That it would just be Ethereum, especially right now with gas fees. I don't see the problem personally. But yeah, it's very low volume. Like, yikes. Clearly, there's more to it than what we're seeing there. It has to have been some kind of additional funding. There had to have been some additional funding that went to Bill Murray in order to release those on Coinbase. Because let's be very, very real. What will happen is if these actually do sell out on the Coinbase NFT platform, the resale market is going to be OpenSea. As much as we, you can like it or love it, you can hate it, whatever, make you feel strongly about it. The secondary Ethereum marketplace is OpenSea. That's where people are able to list things. It's just easier. So, yeah, that's going to be kind of a kick to the balls over at Coinbase. Oh, wow. And Crypto Mikkel says OpenSea only did 11K in the last 24 hours, so not bad in my opinion. Yikes. Now that you mention it, I mean, all things considered, that isn't that bad. But that just tells you the absolute state of NFTs, not moving a whole lot. But Tony Hawk is going to build the largest skate park in the metaverse here in Sandbox. They're going to do this partnership with Tony Hawk. And yeah, it really impressed us. Autograph NFTs will provide additional access to Tony's lands on Sandbox. And they've bagged significant metaverse-based partnerships with Playboy, South Korea's KEB, Hana Bank, and the Bushido's NFT project. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about a project that uses voxels looking all like, what is it, Minecraft-like. I don't know how I feel about that, representing my experience of what the metaverse is supposed to be. What do you think? How do you feel about it? Do you use Sandbox? I've got nothing against it, but I'm kind of undecided. You know, that doesn't, for my part, if I am going to play video games, that doesn't normally get me, you know, in the mood to like play video games. I'm a little more of a, and I know it's kind of corny and it's kind of cliche at this point, kind of more of a GTA 5 guy myself, right? I like the idea of racing around in a car, even if it's a fake one. I like the idea of racing around in a car and potentially wrapping that car around a telephone pole if I'm not careful. That's cool. I like the idea that all the other players in that virtual world may want to try to take stuff from me and pick fights and stuff. And NPCs are fun to interact with because they're weird. That's fun for me. But I don't know, man. I don't know if there's enough metaverses with enough action going on inside them that they've really got my attention yet. And I don't know what it would take for Sandbox to do that for me right now. All right. Shout out to the one viewer on over on Twitch. You're the real MVP. It's awesome. Appreciate your patience. I probably need to start streaming there more often, I guess. But I don't know. YouTube's been the right thing for me, guys, lately. All right. Galo Salome, kind of sucks in my opinion. All right, man. You said it, not me. I just haven't used it yet. But yeah, that's the news over there, is that Tony Hawk is in. They got him. They got him. All right. But yeah, guys, IBC gang looking like it has looked for a while. Secret Network also doing very well, and Shen2 also coming up. 10 set gems. Let's see what we got. That Crypto Mikkel says it's me. That is hilarious, bro. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. The Unboxing Project says, "Mind your biz in a world of NPCs. Make your own story." Too right, my friend. Too right. And that's practically what the world has become. That said, like, I don't know. There's nuance to all this. You need people to play the game, too. Otherwise, what are you doing? All right, 10 set gems. Looks like over the last 7 days, 10 set itself has come back down. It is finding support. And, yeah, hasn't dipped too far below. It seems to find support at the $3 level and not go beyond that. I mean, it's not a promise. That's not financial advice. It's just interesting that that's the case. And then all the way down to Conga Exchange, 36% back up. Wow. Coming up from that dollar support line earlier this week. I'm shocked. I mean, dang. 10 set ecosystem trying to maintain that support. And, you know, it does support its own quite well. MetaHero and Fame MMA not doing their best, but again, finding support just below that next level there. So happy to see that. Same with Everdome. Not doing too bad there. But let's see what our comments are, guys. In the comments section, what we got here. Thank you if you're just tuning in. We do get people kind of like coming in and out. Thanks if you're just tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Share this video while we're live. It helps people to know more about cryptocurrency and know where they can learn about proof of work mining, learn about proof of stake mining, which is setting up validators, learn about passive income within cryptocurrencies, learn about staking, learn about wallet security, learn about privacy on their personal devices, and of course, just have a fun time because we love chatting. So appreciate you doing that. All right, guys, appreciate you being tuned in up to this point. Let me check to see what our last article is, and this is one that I'm really excited about. I know I say really excited. It's actually really bad news, but it's important to talk about it. Like, it's important to talk about some of the stuff that's happening internationally because it does inform what our experience is going to be like here in the United States and in Canada, right? The rest of the English-speaking Five Eyes nations that we think that nothing is ever going to harm our livelihood. Well, we got to pay attention to the signs of the times. This is one of those things. In Sri Lanka, right? So in Sri Lanka, apparently they have crypto restrictions, even though they're dealing with one of the worst economic crises ever, right? The presidential palace was stormed by Sri Lankan nationals. They took over the place. The president fled for his life. And in fact, you can see these photos of people in Sri Lanka who are kicking back, watching video coverage of the protests that they just caused on the president's TV in his living room, right? In the Sri Lankan equivalent of the White House. It's unreal, right? The stuff that's happening in Sri Lanka. That said, they doubled down on something called ESG. And if you've ever heard me talk about ESG, right? It is, yeah, it's not been something that I'm super happy about. Let me, for the sake of pull this up, pull it up live. All right. And I'm going to pull this up over on Robeco.com. They've got a handy definition. This helps a lot more than just me saying it. But ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance factors to evaluate companies and countries on how far advanced they are with sustainability is the bottom line. So here's the thing. You'd think with the political unrest and the problems that Sri Lanka is having, they would be a little bit backwards, right? They might not have good sustainability. And ESG might not be very good there, right? Environmental and social and governance. Paul D is putting a really good hot take into the comments. You're echoing my sentiment there, Paul D. But the problem with using these kinds of measurements is that they don't really take into account what people actually need. They create a sort of utopian vision of the future that places sustainability on the roadmap for sustainability's sake, not for real progress, not for solving people's real problems, but for the sake of checking a box or getting a higher score for sustainability. So, and they do that in those broad categories of environmental sustainability, social sustainability, whatever that means, like people stopped having babies or something, and then governance sustainability. So jumping back into the article, the thing that has me concerned is that Sri Lanka, guess what its score was for ESG? I'm going to give you a second to take some guesses. On a scale of 0 to 100, what do you think that Sri Lanka's ESG score? Now, some of you may already know the answer to this. And if you do know the answer, I guess wait to give some people a chance to guess if you know for sure what the answer was. And I'll let you know the United States has a score of about 51. On a scale of 100, and an ESG score of roughly 51 is what the United States has right now. So what do you think Sri Lanka's score was? Had to have been below 51, right? Put those guesses into the chat, guys. I'm being serious. I'm not going to answer this until we see what your answers are. Paul D says 3, with 3, bang, exclamation mark. So, yeah, what else do you guys think? Throw some guesses out there. We probably have some people who've read up on it. They're like, I can't say it because I already know the answer. But let me know in the chat, guys. I'm going to start reading through the rest of this article, though, as we go. Somebody else, Gordon says 3.14, pi. It's exactly pi ESG. Awesome. Well, first 3 of pi ESG. But due to lack of regulatory oversight at a time of economic and political upheaval, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, or the CBSL, has advised the public against purchasing cryptocurrencies. Gordon Murray says 1 over 137. Barry Merritt says 87. That's a really good guess, actually. It's a really good guess. Sri Lanka actually has an ESG. We've got a few that came in. Guys, Sri Lanka has an ESG score not of 3.14 and not of 1 over 137, not of 87. Yeah, Jesse M got it. It's actually not even 97. It's 98. They had an ESG score of 98. They checked all the boxes, guys. They got all those sustainability tokens. They're winning, right? Wrong. They destroyed their company, their country's ability to maintain life by chasing an ESG score. They got a score of 98, which required them to stop importing chemical fertilizers. And as soon as they stopped importing chemical fertilizers, well, what happened to their farming yields? They dropped. What happened to some of their fields? Well, some of their fields stopped growing altogether. So they've put themselves into an artificial famine crisis by chasing an ESG score. And now, because of the artificial famine crisis, which they manufactured by getting woke to the point that their food pantries were broke, what do they have? They have people struggling to purchase basic necessities, and now the central bank saying you shouldn't buy crypto. It is an absolute poop-nado, right? Absolute crap storm. Just whirling turds out in the Sri Lankan wind. So And I say that really flippantly, but it makes me sad, guys, because this is the sign of things to come. If we're not paying attention to how this stuff is operating in Sri Lanka, don't you dare believe for a second that it's going to be different here when people are promoting ESG here. So we've got to be aware of people saying, like, well, we've got all these measures. Do you have the correct measures? Have you hit sustainability and environmental factors, social factors, and governance factors? Oh, I mean, you're not measuring up. The U.S. used to be great. Make the U.S. great in terms of ESG. That's what we need in order to compete on the global scale. No, we don't. We don't need that. And ESG, by the way, was the rally cry of Michael Saylor and what's his corn? Why can't I not think of his name? Elon Musk. Jeez, I must be getting tired, guys. Michael Saylor and Elon Musk were preaching ESG all day when they talked about trying to get mining companies brought together and making them more sustainable and ecologically friendly. No, ESG is decidedly anti-crypto. Gallo is saying, my dad is an agricultural engineer. Dude is 83 and says there's no way for crops to feed nations without GMOs, fertilizers, and so on. Yeah, it's the reality. You can try to grow at home. I mean, smaller home gardens and such, and you can do quite a bit there. But yeah, that's the reality. Yeah, Gordon Murray is also saying in the chat what I don't know that I can, things that I'm not sure if I can repeat openly. That's the other sad state of things, guys, because of the S side of ESG, is that the S side of ESG prevents people from being able to just speak their minds. But, when we do that, we check that little box. We're a more polite society. We no longer have those thoughts if we don't say those words, right? Yeah, we've effectively controlled thought crime. Go us. Pat on the back. So Jesse M says the sad part is Sri Lanka has to go along with the Davos group to get their money from these massive investors. They got hamstrung. Yeah, there are huge problems. Let's go through the rest of this article fast, though. Oh my gosh, we lost a whole lot of viewers. That got really serious. People are like, nope, too much reality. Got to get out of here. I just want you to tell me which coin to buy. Sorry, guys. Got to take a look at the bigger picture. It does inform it. So the notification, this CBSL declared that it has not granted any Sri Lankan business permission or a license to perform services related to cryptos, such as exchanges, ICOs, and mining. Well, this is an interesting side story, guys, but there was a point in time at which a group of investors from Sri Lanka all but begged me to advise on their mining operation there. I'm really sad for that group because nice people, meant well. We had some infrastructure lined up that looked very promising, but it could not have worked. Could not have worked with the ecosystem there, right? With this whole push towards ESG, it was only a matter of time before a mining operation would have been doomed to fail there. And then potentially had the mining equipment totally confiscated by authorities. Wouldn't have helped anybody, unfortunately. Deadwood says most can't face facts. Yeah, I know, right? Dang, this is actually, it's quite sobering, actually, how quickly the viewership appears to be dropping off. That said, guys, I am getting the high sign from my wife also that my family does want some of my attention for the night. That is our last article for the night. Let me just kind of close with these thoughts here for this article, where they say virtual currencies are considered as unregulated financial instruments, have no regulatory oversight, et cetera, et cetera. The public is therefore warned of the possible exposure to significant financial, operational, legal, and security-related risks, as well as customer protection concerns posed to the user by investments in VCs. Well, here's the thing, guys. When you have no food, when you have no means of producing food, and when you have serious problems with your financial situation, cryptos don't look that bad. They don't. Once you get to that point of no return, you got to figure out what that is. And people start feeling like, yep, got nothing left to lose. How in the world are you going to tell them to stop using cryptos? Now, I'm not advocating anybody in my audience do anything illegal or unethical at all. But if you know somebody in Sri Lanka, please do send them some videos on how to use a hardware wallet and how to secure their seed phrase. Heaven knows they need it right now. So, yeah, that's It's a sad thought, but it's a reality, guys. We've got to help people right now. We got to help the people. They matter. And the last part of our portfolio, guys, stables. Let's just see which stables are actually stable and which stables are just saying they're stable. Come here, stables. Take a look. Paul D is saying, I only got into gardening in 2020, so I'm slowly learning this stuff a bit. Same. Thank goodness I've got a wife who has been paying attention to it and has amended our soil and figured out how to dial in our gardens at home. We've had phenomenal greens, phenomenal yield this year, and we're just getting better this year. It's just in time. Getting the kids involved and learning more about aquaponics to be able to extend the amount of just like edible food, like food that we can grow at home. So yeah, learning more about that. I can't wait to learn more, guys. I'm not going to turn into a homesteading channel. If we're going to stay, mind your biz, crypto, privacy focused. But yeah, we need it. It's important. All right, guys, stables. Looks like what has fallen off, what's looking good. Everything's looking okay so far. USDD managed to find its peg again, but its market cap remains fixed. I still am very much convinced that part of the reason that it's staying so stable is because of a bit of manipulation in the supply and a bit of Justin Sun's own personal Tron holdings going in to back up the collateralization ratio of USDD. And I do need to walk it back, some of the concerns about it. It is an over-collateralized stablecoin. It's got much more in common with Frax than it does with UST. But the fact that they offer such high rewards for their fork of Anchor protocol, that's what's disconcerting. Even with an over-collateralization ratio being like 300% or 400%, when you promised fixed returns of 30 or 40%, what are you doing? Where are you getting that from? How can you ensure that Tron, the main collateral for the basket of currencies that's backing USDD, how can you ensure that it stays stable, right? Enough to maintain that over-collateralized ratio. Not sure about that. Yeah, really not sure about that. The Deadwood says fish pond, then floating harvest, freshwater shrimp, or fish you enjoy. Man, I love that. Yeah, shrimp farming and to help maintain that little biome of aquaponics. I'm gonna look into that because I've heard good things about shrimp farming too, but I don't know about that. I don't know how sustainable that is for my family. If we want to try to eat as many shrimp as we do fish, so balancing that side of the aquaponic garden going to be a trick as well. I've got a long road ahead of me there for sure, but I appreciate that feedback. I didn't even consider putting shrimp in it. That's great. So yeah. Paul D, homestead lake submersion cooling. That'd be super cool, man, right? A mining container that's at the bottom of a lake. That'd be super cool, literally. All right, guys. Stablecoin scene looks about as stable as it's been in quite a while, but I still kind of want to keep an eye on USDD. Frax, DAI, and the other leaders there, BUSD, USDC, and Tether, all looking great. TUSD and Pax Dollar, never been a question about those either, but we got slightly below $1 billion market cap. DAI is one that I'm very happy with, but keep your eyes peeled, keep your head on a swivel, make sure you're paying attention to these markets very, very closely. They can flip at any moment, and I hope this has been helpful, guys. Definitely appreciate you being here with me live. You are the reason that I make this media. Let me know what else you want to see from the Whiteboard channel and from this channel. I will be doing some reviews. I will have some sponsored content coming out in the future. I just want you to be aware of that. But I want to make sure that we're doing this value-added content more, okay? You are the reason to make this media, not the sponsors. Love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyourbiz, where you can sign up for Mine Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you, but we do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you without censorship and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the new Mine Your Biz phone, as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for anything sold directly on the mineyourbiz website. You can earn a percentage of anything that we sell. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.